Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. We are currently being a gentleman and helping out a personnel with a heavy paint bucket sort of scenario. We stop at a small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. What do you mean? It can't be that inconvenient. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of a painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against a grey plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some pieces look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See? The left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better and is faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever it there actually is. Oh, come on now, to demonstrate even though I've got to the point already. The white cotton on her sleeves flaps around. It makes me think that it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost and I can't figure out what to do next, can't fathom out what to do. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted and then it has to dry and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she had made some kind of a statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project. You did this? Yes, yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumbled with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blushed really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels like I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? With your feet? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? Well, it's even harder for her to use her arms, for goodness sakes. You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. It's not the fact that it's easy, but it's just the fact that you're used to it. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us have anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that at all. Also, with the sunlight, it helps with the drying process. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I want to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? You're talking to somebody who has no idea about art, so when I think of flat, I think of something that is like a flat object, like paper. Yeah, well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat. You know, flat. Now, some people are. No substance. No meat where there should be some. I know if it... Okay, I get it. I couldn't really tell. I'm not very good at art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying, "Suit yourself," without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I don't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as with Shizune. It makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, you know, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy, maybe. Not that I know of. I get it. Heart failure has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. We're painting. She sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to a bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl has apparently seen in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants position down to the last milliliter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. I crouch down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green. You could have told us which green specifically. I carefully pour some of the other green into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good colour to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hidden smile appears in the corners of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? I can't get inside your head. No, it's just I have no idea. It's okay because I got just an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into a bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the colour when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life. This girl honestly is a nightmare. I don't know that green. Maybe it's yellow. Oh, goodness sakes. If you want more yellow, but we're on green, then that's the best thing, isn't it? What about if we try lime instead and go from there? Wait, not... Yeah, it is lime. Lime is between green and yellow. I don't want to speak of green and blue, but that's teal. Despite the impossibility of mixing a colour like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's been imposed on me, I found myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Okay. Aha. Seeing a painting being born on the plaster wall feels like magic. I spent the moments I have between mixing paints, crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. While I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from a few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time, and even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand. Not the right word there. Both of us developing and using weird improv codes words for various paintings and hues, as if there was some need to conserve words and breath and sound. Okay, and it's now getting dark. But there's more on the wall. We stay that late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. And it is now the next day. No, Otherwise, thinking like no neighbour knocking our door, thinking that they've got another graph to show us. Sorry. Oh, the sound of alarm pulls me out of a fearful slumber and into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. I linger under the blanket for a few minutes, gathering energy to rise up while making excuses as for why I already haven't. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here for all day. School is surprisingly exhausting after a long pause, and the culture shock still has not faded, I think. Still, despite getting an impression that skipping class is easy here, I don't think they are going to let me get away that easily. Don't skip classes, that's a bad habit to put down. And the nurse is bound to keep breathing down my neck with the talk of exercising as well. So eventually I do rise up, swallow the morning medication, put on my old soccer clothing. Thanks to my condition, I was exempted from taking part in gym class at Yamako, so I didn't get issued with a gym outfit. I'd order some to cover such a contingency, but wearing my old soccer clothes is kind of nostalgic. I can't use them for that anymore, so maybe they can get a new life this way? A bit like me? After all, if I'm going to start taking care of myself, I can't afford to slack around. I'll start from the basics. Basics which include keeping the rest of my body in shape, along with what little I can do to strengthen my heart. Maybe then I can go back to something approaching a normal life. Or at least something where I'm less likely to fall over dead at any minute. I'm surprised to discover that I'm not the only one present at the track. Not just that, but it's a face I've seen before. The prosthetic legs girl who bowled me over in the hallway yesterday is running on the track lithely, like a half-mechanical gazelle. What was her name again? It was a short one, but I can't remember. Emi. E-M-Y. Sorry, E-M-I. She seems to be running laps at a somewhat easy loop. Her prosthetic legs clinking rhythmically on the hard track surface. I wonder what reason she has for running this early in the morning. Maybe it's something akin to mine, and the nurses are pressing the poor girl to jog just like he is oppressing me. I don't think so. I certainly wouldn't be here if it weren't for my health, and it has prompted me to do so. And even if things being like they are, it's only because I wanted to get it out of the way early. The fact that I would be less likely to encounter someone who would witness my pitiful attempts to get into shape was merely a happy accident. I'd leave, but it seems like that my former assailant noticed me on her last lap. She waves at me cheerfully and jogs over. Good morning. Your name is Hisao, right? She grins, seemingly pleased that she remembered my name. You may not remember me. Emmy. I knocked you over in the hall yesterday. Miss Abraz... how do you want to pronounce that? Emmy. She imitates Misha imitating Shizune, failing to get the same kind of subdued lipped into her high-pitched voice. How could I forget such a blunt introduction? Emmy has the decency to look vaguely apologetic for a moment before giggling. Yeah, sorry about that again. Well, so long as you don't make a habit of it, I suppose it'll be fine. Great! I'm not sure she realised I was joking. So the spy constitute the nurse was talking about. Is that actually you? That's right. Oh? I was expecting someone from the nursing staff, to be honest. Although I'm not surprised that the spy itself is Emmy. What? Are you saying that I don't look like I could be a spy? Well, anyone could be a spy, actually. No, but this is more like a relief. I was afraid he would have someone to watch my every move. Unless you are here to do that exactly. No, I'm here for my own reasons. The nurse just asked me if I'd seen a messy-haired transfer student who looked like he's kind of lost around the track. Really now? Messy head? So why are you down here? Emmy strikes a dramatic pose. Training. For what? Track. Oh, I see you're on the track team then. Emmy nods enthusiastically. Yep, I'm one of the better runners too. And modest about it too. Hey, you should join up. It's good exercise, you know. I think that much activity is probably out of the question for me, yeah. Now, I'm not even sure that I really like running all that much. Plus, I'm just not into organised sports, you know. It's true, I never even really got that much to soccer. Well, it's time for a change, my man. I mean, I'd run around with my friends and all, but that was really the only reason I ever played. It wasn't for the glory to be found on the field, that's for sure. Amy seems to understand my meaning. I see, not that into the whole organization thing. But now that you're here, I guess we're going to run together, huh? What? Sure, I guess. Amy seems pleased. Are you going to warm up? Look, man, you need to warm up, okay? Don't do that kind of thing. Oh no, you always should warm up. Bad Hisao. She scolds me enthusiastically, but then smiles and leans closer. I hate warming up too. She laughs suddenly. Heck, and I don't even have to stretch my legs. As if to confirm her statement, she bounces up and down a couple of times, giving a passing impression of standing on a pair of springs. Her left blades seem to be quite elastic. Let's go. So we both take off around the track, and I can immediately see that she wasn't lying about being good at running. Emmy moves fluidly, throwing herself into the run with a sort of wild abandon. I find myself concentrating more on running properly. Hands spread, right? And something about hitting on the balls of your feet rather than the heels. I try to match my stride to Emmy's, but it's pretty difficult. Apparently I'm not very good at it. Well, this is the first time doing this kind of thing in many years. Maybe Emmy could help me with that sometime. I'm really not feeling up to more than a couple of laps a day, and slow to a walk pretty quickly. Let's see. Emmy keeps running and doesn't seem to notice I've stopped until she passes me a second time. She quickly skids to a halt, breathing steadily in contrast to my own somewhat gasping demeanour. Finished already? I had my head ruefully. Yeah, I'm not very good in shape right now. Emmy nods and then grins at me again. She seems to do a lot of smiling. Well, the most important thing is that you started, right? Next time, you just have to try and hold out a little longer, and then longer, and then longer, and longer. Eventually you'll get it. You'll be great. I'll keep that in mind. But I think right now I'm going to get ready for class. Shouldn't you? Emmy shrugs unconcernedly. No, I've got plenty of time. Is that why you were rushing through the hallway, because you had less time than you think you did? I notice that she's not wearing a watch. Are you sure? Another careless shrug. Not really, but I've got to finish my routine. See you later, Hisao. Yeah, see you. I'm not sure whether this morning's experiment was a success or a failure, but I admit that I do feel slightly good about getting out there this morning. And like Emmy said, I just need to keep at it in order to get better, right? Practice makes perfect, or something like that. It's nice at least to feel like I've taken some semblance of control over my own health. I'll have to try to keep this up. I head back to the dorms and wash and change into my uniform, trying to resist the urge to take a really long and hot shower. I'm tired from all of the running, so I just want to unwind, but I don't want to break my slowly building routine of getting to school before the morning rush. Let's see. After taking a long shower anyway, I dry myself off and get out of the store to put on my clothes. Out of nowhere, a shadow appears within the mist, looming and radiating malicious intent. It bursts through the fog. Oh, hi there. I'm glad for the relief, for goodness sakes. What are you doing here? What the hell? You scared me. What's your problem? I should be asking you that. I've been looking for you all over the place, man. What for now? For what now, I mean? Graphs? What do you mean all over the place? I want to ask if he's been looking for me like that. Stark naked, but hold my tongue back. I then realize I'm stark naked too and quickly hold my shirt in front of me, but Kenji doesn't seem to notice a thing. His glasses are too fogged up, but then why does he wipe them off? And is his vision so bad he's perpetually seen through a fog? You know your room, and yeah, that's it. Hey, I mean, I still have to get up though. Whatever, it's not important. Get up. No! He puts on an innocent face and looks away, trying very hard to look very casual. It doesn't work. He's as transparent as his window pane sized glasses. Talking neutrally like this, wearing nothing, feeling awkward. Actually, somehow it's even more awkward to be naked in front of someone when they can't see me being naked. To say nothing of the fact that he's naked as well. I try to brush the thing off with little success. Don't just lend him money like that, man! Awesome. Wait, why do you need it? Can't you just give it to me because I had the goodwill not to run through your pockets while you... That's his time I will never get back. I'll get him for this somehow. That went on for another 2 minutes of constant tapping. But right now I have to get to class. I'm the first person in class today, although I think I'm a little early too. Then again, sitting alone here for 20 minutes sure beats having to suffer that time with Kenji. Again. The combination of fatigue, frustration and boredom starts to make me feel very tired. I'll black out for a second, waking up when my head hits the surface of my desk, rubbing my forehead. I realise this is as good a reason as any to stay up for now and stop coming to class so early later. Eventually I hear a tapping noise outside in the hallway, and Lilly's tall figure appears in the doorway. She's not in this class, so she must have some other business. Maybe she's looking for Hanako. Lilly stops at the door, looking hesitant as if she was a vampire who can't come in unless invited. I consider doing so because she looks rather loathsome standing there. Okay. Be the gentleman then, my man. She steps in on her own accord though, after straightening her skirt and shirt collar as if it was of importance to look prime when entering our classroom. Excuse me, she calls into the quiet classroom with a probing, delicate voice. I realise the silence might unnerve her because of her blindness, so I break it. Good morning, Lilly. Oh, hi, Sal. Good morning, I didn't hear you come in. I wonder if she thinks it's suspicious I didn't say anything to her before. It's likely. If I were to tell too big of a lie now, it would sink me. Well, I was already here, just asleep until now. Oh, have you seen Hanako today, by any chance? No, she seems to come in only just before the bell rings, or after that. Do you want me to tell her something for you? No, it's fine. It's strange, but I think we're the only two people in the school right now. I didn't hear anyone else on my way here. I shouldn't have gotten up so early today, I guess. You're chastising yourself for doing something that other people should. Punctuality is a good thing, I think so anyway. It's a very busy morning today. The festival is coming up soon, and today is the deadline for event registration, budget reports, and any other official paperwork. It could be that everyone is trying to complete the necessary forms at the last minute. Maybe that's why it's so quiet today. Hi! Oh, goodness sakes, Misha. Volume control! I know I'm too loud! Hello, you two. Misha pops into the room with Shizune as if on cue, shouting with a loudness that makes Lilly visibly flinch. Hi, Hair-chan! Hi. Hi. Look, it's the class representative! Hello! Lilly smiles, presumably amused by Misha's or Shizune's use of the word look. Good morning. And... of course you're not representative of this class, right? Right? I'm not. Lilly seems a little more guarded in her answers to Shizune than she was with me the other day. I guess they really don't get along at all. Then I realise that Lilly might not actually know Shizune is present. She's trying to detect whether or not she is, to know who she is talking to. For all she knows, she's talking to Misha, but knowing that, she and Shizune are practically inseparable. She might expect Shizune to be the only one that actually talks. Damn, how complicated. I decided to help Lilly out, for my own peace of mind more than anything else. You're here early, Shizune. You were here even earlier than us. Misha puffs out her cheeks angrily. Why is she getting angry? Does she feel emotions on Shizune's behalf too? It's not that weird though. That Shizune didn't like my little comment is true. I was here earlier than them, so me saying something like that could definitely be misinterpreted as anything. Especially to Shizune, who doesn't have the benefit of hearing tone to gauge intent. Before I can start weighing whether or not I should apologise, Shizune has already moved on. And there we go. Class rep, it's a good thing you're here. We have to talk. The festival is coming up in 3 days, right? Every other class has already handed in their projected budget reports for their events. Even the first years. Except for you. There's nothing to laugh about. There is still time to hand it in, isn't there? And of course Shizune is going to be cross. Today, the deadline is today. You're certainly taking your time, aren't you? If I had it my way, I would have had all of the necessary paperwork days ago. But someone had to say, the deadline, please extend it. Okay, that's a bit harsh. Yes, that was me. Planning something on this scale is not a small task, and a week is too small a time frame to expect a whole class to work out such a complex issue completely. And of course Shizune is not that impressed with that. Do you want to know what's harder than distributing the funds of one class's event? Handling the same matter for every class in the school and then some. The one who does that is me. Misha puts her hands on her hips and stands up straight, while she's getting really into the role. Lee doesn't look like she's very amused though. Hey Shizune, aren't you being a little too hard on her? There's still a whole day left. Please, Hisao, it's alright. Lee seems happy I'm taking her side, but a bit conflicted that I might not think she can take care of herself. If this is about the budget, then I'm disappointed that you think I've forgotten about it. I understand how important it is. Then, can I have it, please? Shizune, she might not have it on her at this exact second. It's not here right now. I asked 2 students to take care of it for me. Students from my class. She emphasizes the last sentence much to my surprise. She knows about Shizune and Misha's efforts to rope me into the student council. I guess word must have gotten around. So now she's using me as ammo against Shizune. This just gets better and better. It was your responsibility. A budget report isn't something you should just be delegating away as class rep. It's your job to be on top of things. This class disregard for proper procedures is really terrible. They completed it, being capable of doing so, but the students have been sick recently, so they could not come to school and give it back to me. If you want, I will apologize on their behalf for getting sick. Okay. Although Misha's misses Lilly's little jab entirely, Shizune doesn't, and she seems torn between being offended by Lilly's daring and jumping off for joy at the prospect of a challenge. Lilly, don't we live here at the school? That's a 5-minute walk, you know. What could they possibly have that prevents them from taking 5 minutes out of their busy lives to drop off something that will affect the enjoyment of their entire class? Lilly opens her mouth to say something, but Shizune closes the gap between them and starts sighing furiously, waving her hands around like an orchestra conductor. Misha tries her best to convey the same passion, but can't seem to lose her normal cheerful tone. The result is interesting and somewhat surreal. And what's with that attitude? I said it's not something you should be delegating away. Are you the class representative or aren't you? Tell me the names of those 2 students. They should have your job if you can't even handle... Okay, now that's been really rude. One form isn't the extent of what I am supposed to take care of. Lilly's tone is growing slightly impatient, but she is doing a good job of not letting Shizune see how unsettled she is becoming. She's playing her cards close to her chest. Shizune, on the other hand, wraps her fingers cheerfully along the edge of her glasses, knowing Lilly can neither hear nor see how excited she is. Excited? Of course, you do so much, class rep. It must be so difficult. Oh, for goodness sakes, this is real bad. Lilly tightens her lips at Misha's words, clearly understanding the intent behind them, even though Misha delivers them without even a hint of the sarcasm which they were meant to have. Shizune and Lilly don't like each other. That much is clear. But this seems a little much. It seems like Lilly has had enough and is ready to push back. Oh dear. Oh dearie me. I was actually just discussing the budget report before you came by. You must be very talented to have finished all your student council duties so quickly that you can track me down to make sure I don't forget my own. Are you accusing me of slacking off? It seems like you're confusing me with yourself. I don't think so. That would be a very difficult thing for me to do, comparing myself to you. You're right. Oh, for goodness sakes. This is what we call bullying right here. It's not cool. And it's not hard to guess which one you might represent. Oh dear, the air between them ripples with the heat of their enmity. Well, not really. They can't disguise it anymore, though. Even Misha looks like she's beginning to understand the real nature of the conversation. Great. Isn't it just fantastic, Misha? Here-chan, don't you slack off either. What are you talking about? Aren't you taking part in the festival, Here-chan? You are, aren't you? Then I hope you're going to do a lot more to make sure it goes smoothly than this. Yeah, this is getting real annoying. There's Kenji with his goddamn antics, and now this! Hey, come on. Cut me and Lilly some slack. Don't drag me into this, I've done my part. Why am I being dragged into this? Again, I've done more than enough, I think. If you're angry with Lilly, that has nothing to do with me. Now, wait just a second. Are you implying the president is more right in scolding me than yourself? Oh, damn, I think I could have worded that better. Yeah, I could have worded that better. Where's the choice? Don't you? I do. Yeah. Okay, so the choice itself is not there anymore. The choice itself is not there. I don't want to be bad to Lilly. Yeah, Cold War. Not that kind of Cold War there. Hey, come on. Cut me and Lilly some slack. Hey, I'm a new guy, remember? It's not like I could have done much, even if I wanted. That's right. You shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into this on his first week. Lilly taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decided to back her up too. You're being unreasonable with us both. And, of course, excuses, Miss Classrep has had plenty of time to deal with her report. And we repeatedly offered you a position to help with the student council work, but you refused to comment yourself to making the festival a success. Yeah, but as I said back then, I'm not sure if... I don't have the time for this right now. No matter what I do, it will mean being drawn into a confrontation with Shizune, and that is what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turn my back at them. I get back to my seat and shut my ears from the finale of the argument between Lilly and Shizune. Eventually, Lilly leaves our classroom and Shizune and Misha seats themselves, without talking to me. I can feel Shizune's eyes burning into my back. She is probably angry at me, but I'm just as angry with her. I don't get why she has to drag me into that argument. Exactly. Haniko doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely at the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lilly was looking for her if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, but I'm not feeling that enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. Oh dear, the teacher has said anything in over 7 minutes instead of opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly from the book. The rhythmic clashing of chalk on blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do, so I stay for a while. Reviewing what we covered in class today, I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I noticed Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind talking to someone from another class. Shizune's sighing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there is pent-up anger in there. Misha is trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely even manage to even understand her. Put my head down, whatever they're discussing looks like serious business. Shizune signs to a point where her wrists crackle, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that, she has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Like of her, their business is soon finished and the girls sit down on their seats again. Oh, I'm so tired. She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I'll use the opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit, without getting roped into the student council thing again, though I suspect that door is now closed for me. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in the school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idly around before and after classes, they're always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me, but in the end she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slight unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well that it's almost like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously. Well, of course, we're in a student council, you know, so we're pretty busy. It's always about the student council thing, it's always about this role, that role. We're all different people at the end of the day. Not everyone is you, Shizune. I like Shizune at first, but she's coming off now as very tyrannical in a way. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of the festival with all our strength. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. That's why there must be no flaws. No, I think that was encumbrances. No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect. Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are really odd fitting for them. Oh, hello. And I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door. Hey, playing delinquent again. Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Shizune stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away to a point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she is showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of a Lilly. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lilly been here? Sorry, hasn't seen Sato. She came by in the morning though. Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares her with her usual studying gaze. What is she trying to do? Of course Shizune isn't going to look away, and she is intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behaviour. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom, working on the festival project, but who knows where that woman is loitering around. Okay, that's really bad. Hanako nods quickly and retreats with haste. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were working really hard to make the festival happen. And driving other people insane along the way? Well, good luck with that. I stand up to leave, making my exit before either of them manages to berate me of any more for slacking off. The halls are somewhat quiet, as expected. Everyone must be in club meetings or at festival preparations. Or both. Shizune's words about being a slacker echo in my head. I feel a bit guilty about not contributing, but I seem to lack the resolve to do something concrete about the matter. For the festival, it's too late already unless I count helping Shizune and Misha, which I naturally don't. And clubs, I don't know. Maybe I'm not a club type of person. Maybe not a club type, but maybe more of a spear type or a sword type. Yeah, I'm talking about weapons now. Melee weapons. Halfway through the way from the school building to the dorms, I spot a figure in front of the dorms. I thought it would be Rin. It looks like she is working her moral today, too. I walk over to her, but she doesn't seem to notice me approaching. She's sitting on an unturned box. Looking intently at the wall she is painted with a brush held between her toes. The mural has progressed considerably since yesterday, but it's still only half done as far as I can tell. More colours have appeared and the twisted human-like figures have spread in increasing number. I have to say, the style is quite eye-catching and very unique. Not that I would be knowledgeable about art by any measurable scale, but it's very nice looking nevertheless. I also like as well that the faraway CG changes over time as more progress to the paint has been made, rather than just looking the same like some other visual novels will do. Hey, we've made progress, but it's not visually shown. I'll clear my throat to get her attention, but not startle her so that her concentration won't break. Wait, she doesn't even turn to check who it is. I'll wait. Whom could it be? 50 minutes later, I decided her concentration is indeed unbroken, and also that I have waited long enough to warrant poking her gently on the shoulder to remind her of my presence. Rin turns her head mechanically to my direction, ended up staring at my crotch. Oh, it's Hisao. What do you mean it's Hisao? She can tell. I would feel a lot less uncomfortable if she would look at my face. An astute observation. Hard at work, I see. The conversation starts as if I hadn't been here for a quarter of an hour already, but it's not a concern. At least it started. Looks good. So looking good. It does. The layers of paint hiding other layers of paint, mixing and shaping the human figures really create an impressive look, but Rin looks muffled. You shouldn't comment on works in progress. 7 years of bad luck. What do you mean? Sounds terrible, I guess. I'll take it back then. Still, it looks good. I wonder if I get 14 years of bad luck for thinking that. Rin turns back to look at her painting and pokes it with a big toe. Could you mix some of the colours? I'm running out of it. Okay, so what colours do we need now? You know, the kind of orange red that you see in a sunset where there's just a few clouds so you can really get that emphasis of more of a red from the orange, but don't you dare not have any orange in it. She looks down at a half-empty bowl with the remains of the same pinkish paint in it. I didn't really intend to stay and help her with this project, but I guess I don't intend to do anything much. I look at Rin, she looks emptily back at me. Just this once. Rin picks up another brush and drenches it in another tone of pale red. There are dozens of similar bowls all around her working area. From the looks of this scene, she could be sitting there for hours. I wonder if she has. That would mean she's been skipping school through, which I, of course, wouldn't put beyond someone like Rin. I pour a little bit of white and red into the bowl, trying to match the colour with the one already on the wall. I can't seem to get it right. It's really inconvenient of her to not mix enough in the first place. Getting it to be exactly the same tone would be impossible, but at least I can try to get it as close as I can. Speaking of hard work, isn't that a huge workload for you too? It's such a big painting and all. Oh, I'm not old and bitter enough yet to think like that. I guess you aren't. You guessed right. Legs hurt though. They feel like slugs. Slugs made of sea slugs. Because of the position? Yeah. I like doing it in a horizontal position more, if you know what I'm talking about. Right, but it can't be helped. Can't ask the wall to lay down. Saying that, she stretches herself a little. She stretches herself a little, for goodness sake, bending her legs and back far more than a human should flex. It's astounding how effortlessly she manages her body around. There is a small flinch in her otherwise blank expression, a hint of pain maybe, as she stretches out her calves. Rin must have stamina and dexterity far above a normal person to be able to live like she does, but she's wearing out working on this. Why push yourself so much? Take a break or something at least. continue tomorrow if it's bad. This gives her a pause. A long one too, feeling like a mental yawn. I don't think so, Hisao. I'm not pushing myself. Sure looks like you are. No, it's not about pushing and pulling or anything related to that kind of thing. There is this boy. A boy? Yes. Where? At the art club. And? He is blind. Kenji! Oh? How could you paint if you are blind? No idea. So why is he there? That's the point. He is there. She really should speak more than one word at a time to make this feel more like a discussion, less like an interrogation. He can't really do anything that you'd call art, right? But he comes there anyway, and paints. Why? I don't know. Why? I don't know, that's why I asked. So? He doesn't paint often, but I think his paintings are very interesting. I'm sure they are. I once tried that, painting with eyes closed. Wasn't too interesting, and cleaning up the floor took ages. Didn't try again. But he is becoming better at sculpturing. Sculpting? I see. Maybe she was trying to make a point with this. Maybe she forgot she had one. Seems like the art club is full of interesting people. Not really. Pretty blunt statement, and she totally missed the sarcasm. No? Just like I said, they are not very interesting. I usually don't have much interest in people who are not interesting. And what is interesting to you? Maybe you have. Maybe. Maybe. But that boy is interesting. Maybe I'm like that boy. Or maybe you are. Maybe everyone is. Doing things you can't do just because you can. That's pretty deep, I think. And tell that to her. You're a deep one. Nah, I'm a really shallow and thoughtless person. People say that to me all the time. Did you know I can only think of 4 things at the same time? No, but now I do. Right now, I'm thinking of the second floor's... Okay, what a weird combination. I'm going to need a haircut. She shakes her head around vigorously, letting her short and messy hair ruffle wildly around. I can see that doing it is something like she likes to do. Okay. We fell silent. So we're full silent as Rin treads around absent-mindedly, poking some brushes around. The thought about the art club sticks in my head for a while longer. I'm feeling like I'm treading on very unknown territory of art. The way these meetings with Rin go, it's as though I'm starting a smoking habit or something. I should probably stop talking with her. It's not like I dislike her, despite the confusion her being herself causes. And I don't dislike art either. I'm either drawn for fun sometimes. So I've even drawn for fun sometimes. I just don't have a real creative drive or any technical skill. Much like myself, actually. So usually, if I were to draw something, I get white paper syndrome and just freeze completely. That, or I manage to draw something disfigured and promptly get frustrated at my inability to put the picture on my head down on the paper, then call it quits without really even trying to make an effort. Rin clearly doesn't have this problem, but she frustrates me in another way. Being with her is like looking into a mirror that doesn't reflect anything. Wow, that's real harsh. It makes one question the sanity of the act. Rin sits down on her box, swaying from side to side, apparently comfortable with the uncomfortable silence. She's staring at me again, or maybe over my shoulder. I can't quite figure out where her eyes are focused. I'm thinking of leaving so she can carry on working undistracted, and then I can do whatever I'm going to do alone. It's not like I have anything that must be done today. Oh shoot. Who? Nobody. I just forgot to tell Hanako that Lilly was looking for her. Do you know her from my class? Oh, her? The mystery toilet girl. No! Not that one from that urban legend! That person is funny. I saw her go to the toilet 5 times during one recess 3 weeks ago. I'm sure it's a world record. It was very mysterious. That's why you call her mystery toilet girl? What other reasons could there possibly be? Well, if there is, it's an eternal mystery. I didn't follow her in though. Maybe it was the week before that. Could have been? I don't think that is the case. Looking at her... Okay, that's real weird. That's real weird. Rin is secretly a cannibalistic lover. Don't say that. At least not around her. Rin turns to look at me blankly, as if she's not sure why I reproved her. But she doesn't acknowledge understand any more than before, so I give up at this point. So, do you want to go eat dinner then? No, not yet. Rin has turned her hungry gaze back to the wall, looking slightly more energetic, or at least slightly less lethargic than she did before. It's as if the wall is an opponent she has to vanquish, something she must overcome before she can indulge in dinner. This is the feeling I get. A weird sense of empathy overcomes me and makes me smile a little to myself. For all her oddity, Rin is pretty cool after all. I'll be going anyway. Have fun! Rin has already grasped a brush and is dripping it into fresh paint, so of course she can't hear me anymore, or doesn't answer anything even if she does. Adhering to the nurse's nagging voice in the back of my head, I set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. I make the promise, and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy is bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. Not all that bad, you say? Sure about that one? You sure it's not all that bad that somebody is ratting you out if you don't come up on that day to jog? I mean, health and all that is very good. Maintain your health. My alarm clock goes off and I flailed about uselessly for a while until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I determined to keep going. This is about my health after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me, but that hasn't made existence so intolerable that I'm not going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it will appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. She's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell does she come down here anyway? Oh, it's you. I'm surprised to see you again. Why's that? Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try. She frowns, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought, like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug, and suddenly appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So, come on then. What? You're here to run again, right? Well, yes. So come on. I found myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find inviolable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. And I should be patient, working towards means gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We run the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient of keeping pace with me and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Oh, dearie me. If we go for it, we might get heart problemos. Let's see. Okay, exercise. No, we're going to go for it. What am I doing here? Am I really just going to fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. The second lap's done quickly, and without even considering if I keep going. Emmy looks back over her shoulder at me and grins. Still going? Wouldn't want you to think I'm out of shape. You already are, man. Oh dear. Emmy laughs without breaking a stride, no less, and speeds up even more. Well, if this way we're going to play things, don't push yourself too much. I increase my pace as well. I can feel my lungs burning and my legs are starting to question just what the hell I think I'm doing. Lactic acid screams in my muscles by closing my ears. I can't let myself fall behind, because that would be a loss. The rational voice in my head inquires mildly just when we started playing a game. I answered it, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast! How? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. It's like a string pulling at my chest, a choking fiend of narrowness and pain. Before I can think of anything else other than, oh sheesh, the track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down to clutch at my chest, the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Emily whirls around and her eyes widen. "Hi, Sal!" she yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track. "What's wrong?" Nothing, just... Yeah, it's not nothing, my man. Keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic. Do you need me to get the nurse? I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon it's gone, like nothing happened. It was... nothing? No. Something happened there. Hi. I open my eyes again and glance at a very worried Emmy. I think I'm fine. My voice sounds weird even to myself. Oddly, even as a matter of fact, it makes Emmy frown. I don't think you are. She seems to come to a decision and nods to herself. Right, you're coming with me. You've got to see the nurse. Emmy grabs my arm and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse the shoulder Emmy offers her support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed by my own weakness. I'd really rather not have Emmy consider about me, but it seems to be too late. Heck, I'd really rather not have anyone consider about my condition. Though at this point, it seems to be too late for that as well. I'd like to be able to deal with the whole thing on my own, without being a bother to anyone else. While I'm wishing for things, I'd rather not have this condition in the first place. Doesn't everybody wish that they didn't have the condition that they have? Like I would. Not want to have autism, for goodness sakes. I would want to have anything in the world to get rid of it, but no, it's a part of me. Oh dear. Nurse! Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but it doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, Sunshine, what's up? Sunshine? Anyway, he calmly sips from his coffee mug, but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to look lonely in the doorway. Hi, Sal, what brings you here? We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing at his chest, and I thought I'd come... Easy there, Emmy, calm down. I couldn't even say all of that. Hi, Sal, what happened? I don't know. We were running, and then my chest started hurting like that time before, but it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns, as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron, yeah. I didn't mean quite this when I suggested to get some exercise. You've got to be more careful, Hi Sal. I was being careful, I just... Come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member of the track team. Doesn't seem as well reasoned as I thought it would. You just what? That is... Yeah, that's a bad idea. Emmy, is this true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably contrite. Well... Finally, she can't seem to bring herself to say it aloud, and Millie nods. The nurse sighs and rubs at his forehead with one hand tiredly. Emmy, you've got to be a bit more sensitive to the limits of others. I don't know if he told you, but Hisao has a bad heart, and getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. Actually, I started it. The nurse is stunned by his statement. You what? We were just running, Emmy started to pull away, so I sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the ceiling, mutters a prayer for patience to some god or another, and looks back down at the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Now come on, Hisao. I've got to make sure your heart's not going to explode or something. I dutifully obey and follow him to the adjacent room when we are certain that I am, in fact, not going to keel over and die. So how does it feel? I don't know. Nothing much. Tired. But it might be just from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest, and we'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lie down on the infirmary bed. A thoroughly miserable Emmy comes in after getting an earful from a nurse in the other room. I couldn't hear what he said through the closed door, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasantries. Look, I'm really sorry. I should have been more careful. Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry, and my reassurances don't do anything much to cheer her up. I want to make it up to you. Again with that decisive nod. So you have to come to lunch with me. I'll bring it for you, okay? Something really, really good. I start with a, you don't have to, but then shut up and just nod at her when I see her face. Good. We meet on the roof. We? Yep, the weather's nice now, so the roof's a great spot for lunch, you know. I see. You'll come, right? You want to deny me the chance to make it up to you? Of course not. Great, see you there. Yeah, great, see you there, for goodness sakes. No, I'm not going for this route. I'm going to take it easy. I'll let Emmy go with her own pace, and she doesn't show mercy, putting half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting up any sort of real fight out here, is it? No, you should go at your own pace. And instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. Yep, stage of the game. Game. God, is this even worth it? As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Emmy keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed. Well, that's stupid. I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I've got nothing to prove to myself either. You do, in a way. I'm just fine the way I am. And what I'm not is a runner. This is probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I could do instead of this. Getting up this early sucks anyway. There's got to be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe? Nice afternoon walks? Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. I wave to Emmy and head back to my room. I'll think of something else later. Back in my room, the first thing I see is a familiar row of medication bottles lined up on the top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed as usual. It's annoying. I thought it was okay. I thought I'd made my pace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. It depends on your perception of these different things. It's not so much about, like, the thing, it's your perception of the thing. Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before, for months. It seems like it's time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. That is how I rationalize it. I down the usual handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary thing out of my head. Then I prepare to head out to class early, as usual. As I step into the hallway, notice... Okay, we're going to go skip past these Kenji dialogue, because Kenji's dialogue is goddamn cringe. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone else seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces now, even though the names escape me still. That is not uncommon. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. Excuse me, that was really rude of me. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday. Please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant... Oh, the bell goes. I can't read these things! The reminder of this sentence is buried beneath a ring of a loud lunch bell, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. Oh no, so many people here. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Hi, Sal. I'm going to make you a one-time only super extra special lunch offer. Emmy's homemade lunch boxes and the privilege of enjoying them in private with two bombshell beauties. Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway, a remarkable feat since it's full of people. Emmy strikes a very confident-looking pose as though as an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, puffing a very modest chest and making the V for victory sign with her hand. Sounds delicious. To what do I owe this honor for being invited? You stood there looking really lost and sad, so I thought you could use some company. That's probably the most depressing reason imaginable. So how about it? You're probably really lonely and would eat that awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. Eh? That's not a nice thing to say. I'm kidding. Sure, I'll have your lunch offered with pleasure. Let's go to the roof. The roof? Why the roof? Because that's where we eat lunch. And if I don't get up there, then she'll probably wander off, and then I just know she'll go hungry because she never packs a lunch for herself. Who will? Come with me. Without answering my question or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I tend to make conversation on the way. Why do you have an extra lunch? Emmy smiles guiltily. Actually, it's yesterday's lunch. I slipped in a run at lunch and forgot to eat it. Oh no, the stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual that removed the lock. Oh dear. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. And it's Rin, isn't it? Suddenly a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Hello? It's definitely Rin, isn't it? Yipes, yeah, from the body shape, it's definitely Rin. Wait, isn't she? Yeah, definitely Rin. Hello? Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Emmy. She's a friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle. Shrugging up the confidence off. I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Does it mean I don't get food, or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3, somehow. Nice thinking. They walk to be a friend of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There is nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few run-down benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow when I look towards the town centre, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depends on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to be open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clean, cerulean sky. A cool breeze swooping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces 1 big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for? I am taking in the scenery. She is beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. Oh, I see myself in the corner of a bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all three of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Well, this looks really good. Thanks, I'll make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin daftly opening her lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen her before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's almost a reminder of the sort of place I am in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? We're all normal people in our own ways. How dare you say that? And what is a normal person? Or does it mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning runs always works up an appetite, which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. Okay. What would happen if you lose it? No! I very nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? They're both at the same time. I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. What the hell? I didn't mean to click off the game, for goodness sakes. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Emmy answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought that we complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes and a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we've got all our limbs. Get it? Yeah. One doesn't have upper arms and one doesn't have lower legs. Ah. So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see, exactly. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you don't have to put up the obvious. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just going to stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. I almost forgot about that, sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink colour scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work about their particular disabilities, Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So Hisao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice actually. I like high places with the views. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for lunch too. Emmy grins a thousand what grin. Please buy my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Again. Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, the company's okay too. Okay. Emmy frowns a bit by my declaration of okay, yeah, I'll think that too. But seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now? Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish up your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs, as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. Right, it is time for class, which we will do in the next time, folks. I don't know why, but I really struggled with saying some of the words in this particular video. Like, I don't know why at times it is can't sing foot and mouth. Damn it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you all in the next time of Katawa Shoujo. Yeah, with Shizune, she is really grating at me. Like, at the beginning I really liked her, but now she is really grating at me. Like Alice from Student Union. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.